Hi everyone, it's Lisa here. I'm back today with another project, and today I'm going to be doing a Christmas card, and I'm going to be focusing a little bit on ink blending and a tiny bit of Copic colouring, and I use a variety of products from different companies. So to start off, I'm going to take an A2 panel of Nina's Solar White, and I'm going to use my Misty to stamp a background stamp onto it, and I temporarily adhere it to my base while I do this so that it doesn't move around. I'm also going to prepare my panel with an anti-static bag, and I use a really liberal coating of Versamark ink. The stamp is quite detailed, so I want to make sure that I get a really good impression. So I'm just going to stamp that down, pressing down really hard. As I say, it's very detailed. I want to make sure I don't miss any out. And then I'm going to take some Wow embossing powder. This is the opaque bright white, and it's super fine, so it's really good for this kind of stamp. I've only just got it, but I really like it, and so far so good. So I'm also just going to heat that. I funnel the excess back into the pot, but I'm now going to take my heat gun and just heat that until it's clear. So to do the ink blending, I decided to use an Altenew ink. This is Ocean Waves, and I'm actually just going to use one ink for the whole of the blend. And depending on how vibrant I want the blend to be, I just press a little bit harder or a little bit lighter, and I want it to go from dark to light, top to bottom. So it's a really pretty sort of blue-green, and I just don't use my inks enough, so I thought instead of Distress Inks, I would use that today. So I'm taking a die from My Favourite Things. This is the Stitch Rectangle Peekaboo die, I think, and I run it through my die cutter. And I'm also just going to take a tree landscape die from Clearly Besotted and cut a little white panel of that. So these are the elements that I'm going to need to sort of pull my card together. Next, I decided that I would stamp my two little images. So I'm using the Mama Elephant Arctic Penguin set, and I'm stamping them onto some Nina's Solar White using Memento Tuxedo Black. So I'm going to be doing some Copic colouring. And the colours that I use here are BG000 and BG01. I will have all these listed over on my blog, but it's very basic colouring. I use my light colour first, and then I go in with a bit of dark. And for the penguin's feet, I use Y17. They're so tiny you can hardly see them, and his nose as well, actually. And then a little bit of yellow on his tummy, which is Y00. And I ran those through the die cutting machine with the coordinating dies. Then I'm just going to prepare my panel, and I'm putting down some double-sided adhesive tape just so that I can attach the little panel which has the landscape of trees in it. So I just kind of eyeball it really, and then I just push that down to stick it together. And now I'm just going to add some foam tape to the back of the panel. I add it to the whole panel because I want that to be popped up. So now what I'm doing is I'm going to just mark off the area where I want to just blend a little bit more ink so that there's some sky behind that. And I didn't change the colour. I wanted it to be a paler version of the colour on the front because I thought blue, it might just look a little bit off. So I just did quite a light blending of that colour. I think it looks really pretty behind. So now I'm just going to remove all the tape from the double-sided adhesive foam, and I'm just going to pop that panel up onto the base. And now I'm adding some double-sided foam squares. I decided they'd be a little bit easier as they're very small images, so they're quite thick. So this card's actually got quite a lot of dimension. So I'm going to put down the little ice die cut first, and then I added a couple of extra foam squares onto the top of the penguin because his top is actually going to sit up higher than the ice once it's all adhered together. So that almost finishes the card, but you know, it's Christmas and you can't have a card without a little bit of sparkle on it. So I decided to use my Spectrum Noir clear sparkle brush pen, and I added a little bit of shimmer to his tummy and also to the eyes. So onto the sentiment. I decided that I would use this sentiment from Lawn Fawn Winter in the Park. I use this sentiment all the time. I think it's a really good size and a really good font, and it seemed to fit the image. So I'm just stamping that using VersaFine Onyx Black onto a piece of Nina, and I cut that down and make a little banner shape at the side, so just to give it a bit more interest. And then for this, I'm just going to lastly add on some little foam squares again, just to pop it up from the panel. Most of the images are actually popped up, but it looks really nice because there's loads of dimensions. So I've attached that to my panel now, and then I just felt it needed something else. So I grabbed my range of stickles, and these are the Stardust stickles. They're fantastic. I use them all the time at Christmas. And I just added a line along the top of the snow and left that to dry. So it's a really simple card. I think it would be quite easy to make a few of these in one go. I do hope that you like it. All supplies are going to be listed over on my blog if you're interested. But thank you so much for watching, and I will be back soon with another project.